Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of Belting at Windmills, a proud member of the Doof Network, where we're expounding James S. A. Corey's novel series, The Expanse. I'm longtime Expanse fan, Elliot Debo.
And making my first journey up the well, I'm Reuben Morehouse, and we're back for Season 2, baby!
Yeah, we got renewed by ourselves.
Scott and Matt looked over the balance sheet. Oh, no income, but no expenses. Okay, yeah, we'll approve that.
This is what the Expanse TV show did wrong. They had expenses.
Yeah. Did they have income? Probably they had some income. Although, the Hollywood accounting behind movies and TV shows,
I don't.
Especially streaming TV, is so arbitrary, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't even begin. I mean, it must have. Who knows?
But we're back for Season 2, and we're making some big changes for Season 2. To start with, we've got a third host. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's me, other Elliot.
An alternate version of Elliot. No, you were meant to do a voice, and we were going to see how long we could trick the audience into thinking there was a third host.
Misa, the new host.
Oh no, we've gone prequels. We'll kill him off by the end of this episode.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know exactly how I'm going to edit that, but that's very funny because I think that's the second time you tried to do that joke, Reuben. The first time I missed it because you dropped out. So that's very funny because I was like, why is Reuben not saying anything when you came back? Because you're waiting for me to. Okay.
Yeah. No major changes for Season 2, although we are adjusting our production schedule a bit. So obviously for last season, we were doing fortnightly episodes, and we felt it was maybe a bit too long of a gap between each episode. So this time we're back and we're weekly. We've been upgraded.
Yeah. We're going to take breaks between each novel. It's worth saying. For our own sanity, but it should hopefully have better momentum if we're doing within each novel weekly. So we're going to go straight from the Churn this week into Sibylla Byrne next week.
Yeah. But should we do a refresher for those of us who it's been for like 3 or 4 months since we last read in The Expanse?
Yeah, because I guess I'm kind of curious. I feel like I remember what we've covered very well, but also like it was like my 4th or 5th time experiencing this story.
Yes.
So I'm kind of curious to get your recap on what we've learned so far in The Expanse.
Well, so Protogen, they're bad, and no matter how many times they get put down, they just keep weaseling their way back. At least in book 2. We didn't really see them much in book 3. Although I guess we had Melba. She was kind of the spirit of Protogen carrying itself forward. Anyway.
That was, yet another failed reboot of Protogen.
Yes. They found this molecule, and it can do all kinds of things, but mainly just kind of escape containment and kill people. That seems to be its main thing. And that's been what the books have been about. The Protogen molecule escaping containment and killing people in new and interesting ways. Sorry,
I do love that we're calling it the Protogen molecule as if they made it. Like this is exactly what they fucking were going for. Like, I don't know whether I mean Protogen or the authors here, but like,
was there an alternate name? I can't remember if there was an alternate name. It's just the Protogen molecule.
Or the proto molecule or whatever. But like, that's the thing, right? Is like, it just makes it sound like they had more to do with it than just finding it and fucking up the entire solar system with it.
Yeah, but it's like whatever, like Lou Gehrig's disease or whatever. Like sometimes things are just named after the people that stumble across them.
That's different.
I guess.
So, right? Like proto-molecule just especially because it's branding, it's not like a person who interacted with it a cool way. It's like just it's extra bad to me because it's like a corporation is like, we found it first, like we own it.
No, that's fair enough. They staked their claim.
Lou Gehrig wasn't trying to like own the disease. He wanted his name tied to like his feats, but like it's not like he's saying I did this.
No,
at least I hope. Like if somebody's naming a disease after themselves because they're proud of it, I guess that's Protogen's level.
Yeah. But yeah, so then they go into the ring, and that's book 3, and they're kind of very slowly drifting around for a while, and you think for a bit Holden's going to be back, and he kind of is. Sorry, not Holden. Miller is going to be back, and he kind of is as a bit of a Force Ghost vibe, and then humans just keep fucking shit up. I mean, yeah. The other through line of this story is no matter how dangerous the alien space things are, the real threat is humans just kind of refusing to work together.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, as well, we met a colorful cast of characters who don't tend to come back in the books, but
well, but explicitly, a few of them died. Oh, I guess Bull died.
Yeah. Well, I was hilariously, Miller also died, but he's the one who did show up again anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
But we had Bobby, Avasarala, and Prax in book 2, and then Bull and Anna, and obviously Melba.
Where did Melba end up? I can't remember now. She's still alive at the end, isn't she?
Yeah, she's riding back on the Rosie. They're taking her to Luna to go to prison forever.
Yeah, cool.
And she has a really nice moment with Amos.
Yes.
Where he helps her start repairing the ship.
Yeah. What did he call her? Peaches or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the fact that you're reminding me of all these side characters, especially Bobby, is making me feel good. I'm hopeful. I'll be disappointed if... okay, let's rank them. Who would we be the most excited if they come back as a main character? Obviously at the top, Bobby. And I hate to say it, sorry, Prax, you're at the bottom. I liked you, but I'm ready to not see you again.
Look, it's harsh but fair. He was a great POV, but also it's we've seen all we need to see.
We did him, yeah, exactly.
He got May. I also just from a character, he got May. I just want him to live happily ever after. Bobby's still got some pain in her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Bobby's up the very top for me. I think probably Melba is next, or. Fuck, what's her name?
Clarissa,
thank you. I keep thinking of her as Melba in my head, and obviously that was her name for a bit, but I feel like Clarissa is what we should call her now. Avasarala's up there, and then kind of Prax, Anna. I'd be very impressed if we see Bull again. And Miller, I'd love to see come back, of course, but I just don't think we'll get Force Ghost Miller, but I don't think we're gonna get, Miller.
Yeah, arguable how much of that is Miller's POV.
Exactly.
I think the only difference in our list really is I'd put Anna way higher. I fucking loved her. I think that came through in our
You're
coverage.
Big Anna stan. A Stanner, I guess. Yeah.
Well, it's Stanner. You gotta really anyway.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into talking about what we're here to talk about this week, which is of course the Churn.
The Churn. This is obviously the novella between book 3 and book 4 here, the Churn. A quick summary of the story is a young boy. I mean, not that young, whatever, 18 or 19 is the vibe I get.
No, I think it's explicitly called out that he's 15.
Oh, really? Even younger. God.
Yeah.
Okay. A young boy with no morals goes around killing people and sleeping with his aunt, and then it turns out he's one of our favorite characters.
Okay. But before we get into it, I mean, because
we can't talk about this without talking about without talking about this twist, right? Or is that what we're going to get into?
Well, yes. So this is what I want to ask, because everyone I've talked to has made the Timmy is Amos connection at a different point. I'm curious when you got there.
I didn't make the connection at all until it was explicitly told to us. I didn't make the connection. And, if I was trying to justify that, I'd say I haven't read or thought about these books in 3 or 4 months. But really, I think I never make connections like this ahead of time.
No, yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's actually, I think it was probably right before they revealed it. I probably if it had been the screen adaptation, it would have been about 3 seconds before they called him Amos Burton.
Yeah,
I would have been oh my god, Timmy's Amos.
And it's not like it's a secret, because didn't they mention that he grew up in Baltimore?
Yes,
we knew all these facts beforehand.
Yeah.
Not the specifics, but I think it was in the previous book, wasn't it? When they were talking about some of the backstories, and we got like little hints of Amos's backstory. It was pretty explicit of like he was involved in organized crime. He was the child of a prostitute in Baltimore. Like all these facts, I think we knew.
Yeah.
So I should have, if I had been
Yeah. No.
really thinking about it, I would have put it together, but I just didn't.
No, I did the same thing where, like, especially on my first read, I'm just kind of along for the ride, and then you get there. Whereas, like, yeah, the amount of people I've talked to who've like kind of picked it from like page 3 of this one or something, and
That's
I'm just like,
hardcore.
it's fascinating to me because it's such a different story. Like rereading it again after Timmy is Amos, it hits a bit different because you care about this kid on a whole new level, whereas I feel like the first time I
Yeah.
read it, I was just like, little psycho. Like,
Uh,
that's fun. But
uh,
yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of going to jump around in my notes here a bit because I think I have to, because the first 2/3 of my notes are written without knowing that it's Amos, and it kind of recontextualizes them a bit. But
Yeah.
I really loved this short story. It was such a good one to get me back into the swing of it, especially
Mhm.
because as I was reading it, I was so excited for it to be like very street level. Like, this is a very
Yeah.
street level
Yeah.
story. And the expanse, I mean, when it started out, when we were focusing on Miller and his life as a pretty shitty cop, that felt pretty street level, I guess. And that felt
Yes.
pretty
Yeah.
like grungy and like cyberpunky. But pretty quickly, as soon as we leave the station and get into space, these books are much more like science fiction, magical. People are dying, but you're not like really feeling the grunge of it a lot anymore. It becomes more, you
No.
become more detached from it. Is how have felt, at least, especially in the third book, when we're like, the threats are like an abstract slow zone and things like this, where I'm like, we're now in kind of magical land to an extent.
Yeah.
This story that is much more grimy and focusing on the grunge of it feels a lot more real, and having a story feel a lot more real about this character who is like killing people and all these like kind of grungy human interactions, and then having it turn out to be Amos, and kind of smashing together these two worlds of like the grimy and grungy backstory of Amos with the like space adventuring future of Amos that we
Yeah.
know about. I think it was a really great way to make it feel, to like re-ground the story for me in a really fun way. Like, I really, really loved it. I loved the story before I knew it was Amos, and then I especially loved it afterwards because it felt to me like it had re-anchored the story in humanity a lot, which I think is just sort of like a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah, because like I don't think like the Expanse makes space seem particularly like clean and fun,
No,
but like it just has that effect on us like
it's
Earthlings.
impossible kind of not to have that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it creates a distance because I've never
Yeah.
been to space. I've never experienced a slow zone or a wormhole or whatever the fuck, right? Like, it's impossible for
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
not to create a distance. Yeah, but this like shattered that distance a lot for me, and I think that's a really fantastic
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
to
no, I
do.
agree. Because it's so funny. Because I think like if you compare The Expanse to say like I don't know, like Star Trek or even like Star
Yeah,
Wars, it
yeah,
makes the space so much less magical. But it's still like
yes,
I don't think you will realize how magical it still felt until you read something like the Churn. Because like Gods of Risk and stuff, we still had the novelty of like, oh, it's like cool space Mars.
yeah,
Even when it was pretty like kind of a shithole, it was still
yeah.
magical because it was Mars. Whereas the Churn is like, yeah, Earth got
And they
worse.
were talking about like riding around on their spaceships and stuff, and I'm like, yep, we're in space. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
fictional. It's very fictional.
But yeah, okay. Well, let's get into the
Yeah.
details because I'm keen to talk this story out. But this story opens by describing the character Burton, who is a mob boss in Baltimore. Um, Essentially, what's happening right now is there's a new junior member of his crew, Timmy, and Timmy's in trouble because he did a murder on a what was just meant to be a collections run. Um, and we kind of see all this from the perspective of Eric, um, who's the kid who's friends with Timmy and vouched for Timmy and is kind of shitting his pants because he's like a hacker who works for Burton,
Mm,
and feels like he's hanging on by a thread, and if Timmy fucks up, it's going to reflect badly on him.
yeah.
Um, anyway, so Burton's punishment is that Eric has to take Timmy on as a personal bodyguard.
Yeah. Um, yeah. It's a great little opening. Again, like I was very excited to be like grounded and street level.
Yes.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
and yeah, finally seen Earth that's not Avasarala's grand parliamentary
Yes.
intrigue. Yeah.
Yeah, we see the other side of what it's like to live on Earth, and that's one of the through lines throughout this story. Is the characters are people who have not fallen into the system, and they're not on the whatever the universal basic income that they have on Earth.
Yeah.
They're explicitly kind of unregistered and living their life on in the shadows and on the fringes of society, and that's obviously so different from the impression of Earth that we've got before.
Yeah, like I'm thinking back to like Bobby, particularly the Martians came at Earth with this view of like you're all just like on basic and just like wasting your lives doing nothing and being cushy like lazy Wall-E NPCs.
Yeah,
Um and it's like that's not how humanity works. And we pretty much we cut to the churn. It's sort of like no, there's an underbelly to this.
yeah,
Um, I really like like this the story hits us really hard with this from the get go. Like we're introduced to Baltimore, and it basically a huge chunk of this is dedicated to explaining how bad Baltimore is doing specifically. Um, and then the text specifically also calls out that like it's a metaphor for the rest of Earth too. Like it's decaying, it's overcrowded, people aren't happy or content. There's like way too much crime, and the book's just like, and this is pretty much what the whole planet's like. Like we're going to focus in on this street level, but like imagine this is happening in
mm,
100,000 other cities.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of it's because we're in this like omniscient narrative perspective. You obviously kind of
Yeah.
have to take it as true to an extent, but it doesn't necessarily ring true to me. Like the kind of cops and robbers game that emerges between the three or four different kind of gangs in Baltimore and well Star Helix in this story. So interesting to think like, is that really just playing out in hundreds of cities around America, thousands of cities around all of Earth? Like, I don't know. It seems it's so dystopian. It's so like
Yeah.
cyberpunk to a level that we haven't kind of experienced, at least on Earth, before in this story. It's yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's not universal. Like it'd be the same as any any point in history, right? Where some places are
Yeah,
worse than others, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like I'm sure there are other cities that are doing better. There are probably others that are doing even worse. With different like cultures and people, there'd be different flavors of this bullshit as well. But like,
mm,
like I guess like I feel like I get what I think the narrator's going for with that, which is just sort of like the general issue of there being crime and just kind of unhappiness because people are stuck in on basic like that rings as
yeah,
something that wouldn't be universally true, but is like okay, like this is a problem in a lot of places.
yeah. It's so funny to think about universal basic income to us in today's day and age is like
Yeah.
such a utopian idea. It's
Yeah.
like maybe one of the most almost like it's unrealistic that it could ever happen because it's too utopian. And so seeing
Yeah.
this where they've achieved what to us is a utopian idea, but then has still um, resulted in a dystopia is kind of disheartening to an extent, isn't it?
See, I remember this was something I really really liked when I was reading the
Yeah,
series because I for years have been huge on UBI, and so
yeah,
I really really loved that the Expanse came in and was like, yeah, but what if we had UBI and it still fucking sucked because people suck, and
yeah,
like it didn't really change my like I still think that would fix a lot of what is facing us right now in 2026, but
yes,
it made me think a little bit more critically about what UBI might need to look like and how you can still fuck it up. Um,
yeah.
and I thought that was really fun. Like, yeah,
I think it's especially interesting to me because a lot of like cyberpunk dystopian stories are pretty explicitly like hyper capitalist, right? Like, you know,
yes,
Blade Runner or Minority Report or whatever, whatever your kind of cyberpunk dystopia of choices, a lot of those are capitalist societies that have gone to the extreme, and the gap between the upper class of capitalist owners and the lower class of, blue collar workers or whatever is like getting wider and wider, and that's like what's causing this like cyberpunk dystopia. So having a what is effectively a cyberpunk dystopia that we see in this short story, but it's not. I mean, I guess it's still capitalist to an extent, but they have these like socialist government policies. It's like it gives it a different flavor that I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've somehow managed to do both, and they're both horrible.
Yeah, I like it. It's a unique flavor for this type of thing, which I think is fun.
It also feels very real that it's like, yes, they have UBI and the healthcare and all that, but only for registered citizens. And of course, there's a process to get registered, and a lot of people aren't.
Yeah,
and so then there's all this free medical care that they can't access. And that feels right to me. Like, especially like with overpopulation being a problem, you'd have to have policy to discourage people from procreating.
Yeah,
that never fucking works though. Like, I think in the history of mankind, what we've learned is that you can't stop people making babies. So just like, I mean, like China 20 years ago, or whatever, is like a great example.
It's the example for sure.
So just like just the whole thing. It just feels so like this is it was such a fun monkey paw of UBI, which is something I did and still do barrack for. I love it.
Yeah.
On a similar note, actually, like we get introduced to Burton, and like I think the story never explicitly like says this, but is clearly going out of its way to say this guy is basically Mao, but born poor. Like this is what happens when Jules Pierre Mao lives in the gutter, but it's the same fucking guy. I think they compare him to CEOs.
Yes.
Yeah.
His attitude of like superiority that is kind of set up, and of like I guess entitlement is the word.
Sociopathy.
Yeah. Like he feels very entitled to the position that he's in, and it's not the same position as Mao, but the entitlement is the same. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it's that same ruthlessness and like, just like lack of empathy. Which is going to be a really fun thing to talk about when we get to our own little boy who struggles with empathy a bit. But we love him. He's our little sociopath. But yeah, like I guess I don't know. There's something about opening with Burton, getting this description, and as an Expanse fan, me immediately being like, okay, so it's Mao if he had to do street level crime. That helped with that like grounding that you're talking about, or it's just like I guess it feels like this series of stories has always been a little bit like, no matter where you stick them, humans are still going to be humans. And there's something about like Burton reminding me of Mao that's just like, yep, okay, like no, like whether they're like space entrepreneurs or like some crime boss on the streets of Baltimore, there's not that much that's different between them, actually.
Yeah, I think you're right to say that a theme that James S.A. Corey likes to write about is this idea that humanity will always be humanity, whether for better or worse. We're all inherently very human, no matter the circumstances we find ourselves in.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess getting back into this story before I start wanting to talk to you about Captives War, because I know you just read it. The next sort of character we meet in this omniscient point of view is Lydia. So she's like a nice lady who's found her own form of long-term success in this Baltimore underworld. She was a prostitute, but now she does like admin work for the mob bosses, basically. Is the vibe I got. Anyway, it turns out she lives with Timmy, because she was really good friends with Timmy's mum. And so she
kind of took care of him when he was younger.
Yeah, and takes care of him now, I guess.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because Timmy comes home to tell her about how he's not doing so hot at work, and she comforts him.
Yeah. So this is, I think, as soon as you read this, you're like, oh, this is something that this book is, or this short story is gonna be about in a lot of people's eyes, right? And it's really an interesting choice. Something that I loved about Leviathan Wakes is the moral complexity of Miller's obsession with finding Julie, right? And
Yes.
what that relationship and what his kind of picture of Julie morphs into over the course of that book. It's such a weird
Yes.
and like human bit of emotion.
It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah. And this one is along similar
Yeah.
vibes, but really turns that up all the way to 11 and then probably a bit past 11. Because the vibe of the few paragraphs before this is Lydia effectively describing how she's his aunt without using the word aunt, but I think that's the kind of template that this maps onto pretty clearly.
Yeah. Or like stepmother even. Like,
Yeah, somewhere in that vibe. And then she starts to undress and then it's described that he's erect and you're like, "Oh no." Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. It's I mean, I had him as 17 in my head, but the fact that he's 15 obviously makes it worse.
Yeah,
It's
I'm trying
just
to find
bad all
exactly where I pulled
round.
that from.
No, it
But
feels
yeah, like
right. It feels right.
yeah, I think it's like called out that him and Eric are around 15.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I have anything to say about it other than it is a more extreme version of, what I mentioned in Leviathan's Wake. And like, I liked it there. And I guess I kind of conceptually almost like it here because it is very um, demonstrative of the complexities of these people's lives.
Yeah.
But I also don't like it for a lot of reasons.
No, like the fascinating thing about it for me is that like despite this indisputably Lydia is clearly the most positive influence on Timmy as
Yes,
a person.
yes. Yeah.
And like that's such a that's such a horrifying thing to have to grapple with, is that like the person who's undoubtedly doing the best out of anyone for this kid is also the one who's doing this to him.
Yes. Who is, I
Like
mean, raping
it's
him, right? Like you can kind of,
well, yeah,
he's
basically, yeah,
15, so I think we can say that unambiguously.
yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, that's like, I mean, this is a story that right from the get go sort of sets up that like, hey, Baltimore fucking sucks, and you just got to like make do. And
Yeah.
there's no better way to hit us with that than like this dynamic between Timmy and Lydia. You're sort of like, wow, like this is the best he's got.
Yeah.
And she does like, yeah, it's because she does care about him in her own way that's like so messed up and
Yes, and the
needs to be
power dynamic
addressed.
in their
But
relationship is not necessarily uneven, right? Like
yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird.
yes. Yes, it is definitely.
Um, yeah. Anyway, I guess let's move on. We'll probably come back to this because it
Yeah,
keeps
I'm
coming
sure we
up
will.
in the
Yeah.
story. But yeah. Uh, Lydia basically like is surprised that Burton is keeping Timmy around after this fuck up, and like sees it as a sign of a churn coming up, which is basically
Hmm.
a term some of the locals here use to describe this semi-regular like period of violent change in the status quo, but not really. Um,
Hmm.
and I mean, like, spoiler alert, she's right.
Yes.
But yeah, I find the churn a fascinating concept. Like, it's obviously fun to see how different people like Burton and Lydia have like shaped themselves to weather it. Um,
Hmm.
but just the way everyone treats it as this like natural, like it's this natural part of just living in society. And it's really fun to think about like how much this concept does exist in the real world. Like if you stretch the definition of what a churn is, like you can obviously like
Hmm.
make it fit anything. But like that's just a fun kind of thought experiment to go through. At least for me, is like yeah, what churns have I seen?
Hmm. Yeah, it is interesting. Like I think probably in this fictional world they're a bit more accelerated, just because
Yes,
things are obviously worse.
and violent.
Yes, things are obviously worse in this world than they are for us right now. I mean, we'll see how we go,
Yeah.
but um, yeah, this like unrest leading to whatever violent action, and then crackdown from police and whatever else like could cause these kind of churns feel very real again. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so frequent that it's become something that is actually able to be cataloged like it's some kind of season. Is
yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting idea.
Yeah, like it, and like the fact that I think the story makes clear that this churn basically got started because some new politician wanted to like make a splash, so did some policy, and like that's kind of what gets all this going, and like that
Yeah.
also just feels right. I was just like I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
bought that
totally.
immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is an interesting idea.
Um, but yeah. Anyway, the churn really kicks off in force when Eric and Timmy are hanging out in a park, waiting to meet a client who spoilers isn't coming. They're mostly just shooting the shit because they're old mates. They're talking about their dreams of going to space. And then Star Helix, our old friends, show up to nab them, but Timmy gets them away without Eric's computer, which is a big deal because his fingerprints are all over it.
Mm. Yeah, but this scene of them, sitting in the gutter looking up at the stars and spaceships, it's like
Mm.
very cyberpunk. It's so funny to me. Like a scene of sitting in the gutter looking at spaceships is like iconically a cyberpunk esque scene,
Yeah,
which I think is
I
really
will say
fun.
this is one of those moments where like the way this was done in the show
Mm,
is just my permanent memory because it's them watching a rocket take off in the distance, and there's
mm,
something that works so well for this scene in particular, like watching a rocket that like it doesn't look that graceful or beautiful, like it's a phallus with like a giant fireball coming out the bottom.
yeah.
But like you compared to how shitty Baltimore is, there's just a sense of but it's getting out. Um,
Mm.
and so it's less about like space and stars and more just about watching a rocket like physically leave the atmosphere. It just works so well.
This is something I was curious about, especially after the ending to this short story. Is like, what did they do this in the show, which you've just confirmed, and what was this episode like in the show? Like, yeah,
They changed some of the stuff with Lydia. I'm just gonna tell you that now.
sure, I'm not surprised.
But yeah, no,
What
it's
did they
fascinating.
change it
My
to?
yeah,
Out of curiosity, what's the sanitized version of it?
no, I kind of I'm hoping maybe not on the podcast already, but we'll get there one day.
Oh, okay.
But it's
Well, let
it's
me say what my guess is about it then.
yeah, yeah.
Um, my guess is they just made Lydia the same age, maybe 15 or 16, maybe a little bit older, maybe 18, and kind of another person who grew up in the streets alongside Timmy, as opposed to explicitly his
Mm.
aunt or whatever, stepmom.
Yeah. No comment.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, no, I think because like I was going to talk about this at some point, but I'll just throw it in now. It's funny to me because all the other novellas up until now have felt optional, right? Like they've been good,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
missing Gods of Risk didn't mean anything for your understanding of Abaddon's Gate, and like
Yeah.
Drive was cool, world building. The Butcher of Anderson Station kind of gave you a little bit more about Fred, but you didn't need it.
Were those adapted into the
Yes.
show? Like there
Yeah,
were
they were.
episodes that were there was a Gods of Risk episode or whatever, half an episode or whatever.
Look, we don't have time for me to get into the Gods of Risk scenario
Oh,
in the show. That's a
okay.
whole can of worms. Um, the but like the Butcher of Anderson Station and Drive were quite explicitly just thrown into like bits of the first season, like Leviathan Wakes.
I see. But
Um,
not like they took place kind of contemporarily, or we got like a
no,
flashback
like
of Solomon
yeah, they
infecting
were
his drive.
flashbacks.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
Um, but like I guess the churn. I remember like reading this one and finishing it, finding out Timmy's Amos, and then like reading the next book and sort of being like, man, if you didn't read the Churn, like
Yeah.
this is the first time you're really like you're not just missing fun world building or like Gods of Risk. We got to see Bobby again for a little bit, and that was neat. But
Yeah.
like Amos is still a character, and this was really the first novella that made me go like, oh, you have to make people read these because I mean, you can get by without knowing this about Amos, but like fuck it, it changes how you see him knowing.
Yeah. To go back to what I was saying before about this, like, feeling of realism that this story has, it's so important, I think, for Amos because he's kind of a bit of a cartoon character. It in the sense of like because this story is set in space and it's kind of magical. Amos is this guy who's like quiet and just does violence. Is like you can look at that character and be like, yeah, whatever. In the real world, that character would be horrifying, but we're in a fake cartoon world or whatever. Like, so it's fine, and I can stand him and whatever, right? But this novella makes that character so much more real. It takes a character that I was happy to not feel
Yeah.
complex about and forces me to feel more complex emotions about him as a character.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm not trying to say like from very early on in the series, Amos was my favorite character, but like
Yes.
you're right. Like just this story really ups the amount you sort of have to like engage with that. Like I think for the first three books, it was like, haha, he's the funny violence man, and I just like that trope.
Yeah.
And then you read like this one, and you're like, okay, no, like we're like he was interesting before, but now like this is fascinating. Like that this is like a character we're doing a bit of a deep dive into throughout the
Well,
series.
do you feel? Did you feel after reading this that same thing of like, he was a character that I felt like I could unquestionably just be behind, because yes, he's violent, but it's to the baddies and all this stuff, like whatever.
Yeah.
But reading this, I don't know. I can feel confident saying that anymore, just because I don't know. It's made his willingness to jump to violence a bit too real for me. Did you feel the same way?
I I'm just trying to remember. Like, I definitely for the first three books, I was really liking him as kind of an answer to the like how every space sci-fi show has like the violent meathead member of the crew. Like it was
Yes.
Jane in Firefly, and you got your
Yeah.
Teal'cs in
Yeah.
Stargate and
Yeah. Yeah.
whatnot.
I don't know. You could call Teal'c a meathead, but yeah,
I mean, like he's not. Yeah, like me.
he's not an
As in,
intelligent. He's a bit of a
well,
himbo vibe. Yeah.
yeah, he's not intelligent, but like he's not, like half of SG1 are science nerds, like it's
Sure. Sure.
like you're right. Like O'Neill is the dumb one if you have to pick it, but like Teal'c
Mm-hmm.
is the brawn.
Yeah.
And I guess what I thought was really cool about Amos from the get go was that it was kind of an interesting take on the buff member of the crew in that like he was just weirdly loyal, and then you start to learn towards the end of
Mm.
Leviathan Wakes that he like figures he doesn't have a moral compass, so he lets other people do it for him. Um,
Mm.
and then this book really, like the Churn, really sort of makes you. Like I guess I just taken that at face value, and I thought it was like an interesting character concept. And then you read the Churn, it's sort of like, okay, no, I need to think about him as like like how does somebody end up like that?
Mm.
um, and like treat him more like a person rather than just like a canvas. Which I mean, he's a fictional character, so like within reason, but like sort of like oh okay, like it made me engage with that concept on a whole new level that was really like lifted it up for me even more. Where it was like okay, this like yeah, he doesn't do good, but he kind of maybe tries. I mean, in the Churn, not really, but
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah. I look forward to
um,
talking about that a bit more soon when he makes the
yeah,
decisions that he makes. But yeah, it is
yeah,
interesting, and I look forward to kind of reading the next few books with this additional perspective on Amos in mind.
yeah, 100%. Because like you said, like I do think it hit me a little bit that it was like okay, like it takes some of the cutesy funness out of his like willingness to do
Yes,
violence
yes,
for sure. Um, like especially we kind of skipped over it, but before Lydia comforts Amos, or sorry, Timmy, she she's sort of like, oh, like what's wrong? You're like shaking, and he basically tells her he's killed someone for the first time. She's like, oh, you're probably traumatized, and it's like he's just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, like I guess. Um, so like he's just yeah, like I don't know, like there's just so many layers of like, oh, like this is somebody who's not well.
Yes.
That and that was so different to by the time we've met Amos in the main series, like that's gone. Like he just he is clearly emotionally disconnected from murder. Um
Yeah.
and it that's so much scarier when we do see that, like, no, okay, no, there was a point where this was like a boy who did his first murder and lived such a fucked up life that like he needed somebody else to tell him that like was affecting him emotionally.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting though, like the concept of him still kind of shaking and feeling traumatized, but not being able to put his finger on what it actually is. It's like he he almost feels this moral compass, but he just doesn't quite
No.
like act upon it or something, I guess. Like he's not
Yeah.
so numb that he's immune to all feeling. He just is his moral compass is kind of disconnected from his decision making framework.
Yeah, well, and I think I think this story really hammers home that it's like it's not a nature thing. Like nurture has played a part in this.
Yes.
Like he wasn't just born missing the part of his brain that gives a shit. Like
Yeah.
oh wait, and what we're seeing is like the last bits of that get eroded in some of the churn here. But it's like his body wanted to respond to this with emotion, but he was never given
Yeah.
the equipment to use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Anyway, I mean, this is the part of the churn where the churn happens. Um, we see Liev, who is one of Burton's top lieutenants, get captured. And like a bunch of other shit starts happening basically. And like this is where I really wanted to call out like this novella is in a very like distant third person.
Yeah.
Um, like we're constantly switching between POVs, or like honestly, it's not even anyone's real POV. It's like an omniscient narrator who just tells
Yes.
us stuff that they're feeling,
Yeah.
which like I don't think The Expanse has done before. I think maybe
No.
Drive might have, but like
But it
yeah. Well,
felt a
I
lot
mean, actually,
closer to Solomon's internal
yeah.
monologue, at least.
No, you're right. It did. So yeah, like I just thought that was interesting because it really like I'm not normally someone to notice that sort of stuff, but as we're reading it for this, I was like, okay, no, this definitely like changes the feel of the world and the characters.
I think the thing I liked about it was it 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 kind of demonstrated that the narrative didn't have a strong allegiance to a protagonist. Like we're switching through a few different point of view characters, Burton, Timmy, Lydia, and then even like kind of Eric at some points, or like Liv, and like we're we're
Yeah,
sliding around, and it means, or it gives the feeling that if Star Helix is around and picking people up, kind of anyone could get picked up. Timmy could have got picked up, and then the book would just move on to the next POV and
yeah,
follow the action differently. And it kind of made it feel more real in the sense that there was less kind of plot armor protecting the protagonists, because the narration didn't really have a strong favor towards them. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. Whereas even when you let yourself get swept up in the narrative, it's a little party that doesn't believe Holden's going to die halfway
Well,
through a
yeah,
book.
like the 1/3 of the book's chapters start with the word Holden in a big bold header, and you're like, okay, he's at least sticking around until the end of the book,
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, you're right. It definitely like I guess this story is really trying to hammer home how like not in the system
Disposable,
and like
yeah,
yeah, ephemeral these people are, like by the system as well, right? Like these are all like most of our characters here. It's even like they're all unregistered. Like even Burton, like part of what makes Burton special is that he rose up from being in Timmy's position. Um,
yeah,
yeah, like every I think every character we meet in this story is like unregistered and like unknown and uncared about by the system, basically. And this omniscient third person perspective really helps sell that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I'd also say like Timmy is, arguably the main character of this little novella. That's not always as clear as it's
Well,
going on
yeah, I
because of
think
that
he
perspective.
becomes the main character, but I don't think it's clear
Yes.
at the start of the novella that he's
No,
going to be the main character.
not at all. And so I think there's also a layer to that of like that just works for Timmy because like this is a dude who clearly struggles to empathize and connect with other people. Um, and so there's something about us not being able to like properly see inside his head, or the people around him that just also feels right to like what we're learning about, this guy.
Yeah, in the author's notes at the very end, they explicitly call out that while we do get some insights into other people's train of thought, we never get that into Timmy, which I hadn't
Ah,
noticed, but it clicked for me at the
yeah.
very end. And I think that's really interesting. I don't know if they did that to keep the kind of reveal of Amos being Timmy a little bit further at bay, or just because Timmy is meant to feel almost unknowable to an extent.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Yeah,
interesting.
I think it's yeah, like it definitely works as the latter at the very least. And again, it's that like fun, like I love how the expanse can make humans feel the most alien. And this is a great example of that. Like,
Yeah,
we're gonna cut back to Sibylla Burn where all those gates opened and whatever. But now I'm gonna be like, yeah, but Amos is also like pretty
he's the real
strange.
alien.
Like yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, I guess getting back to the churn, Timmy kind of plays rescue man. He gets Lydia to like a little safe house he set up. And she sort of tries to give him some advice on how the churn works and how he should just kind of be a dick. Um, and then Timmy goes and rescues Eric next because he realizes he's still on the job. And he buys Eric a new computer, um, and gets Eric to the safe house with Lydia. So it's basically the whole gang is together in this safe house on a little island.
I loved him buying a new computer. It's such a great moment because it sells Timmy as a character who it's not about necessarily intelligence, but just about this like willingness to think outside of the box or like do things that aren't kind of governed by society. Like, it's the same thing that lets him just kind of kill people, right? It's like there's this unspoken rule of this computer belongs to this shop and we can't just take it, right? But for
Yeah.
Timmy, it's like, we need a computer. Oh, here's one right here. What are the steps I can take to get us this computer? And the steps are pay the waitress and then break the thing that's tying it to the desk or whatever. Like, the, I don't think it's like what we would necessarily consider intelligence, but it is this like maybe it's wisdom or something. I don't know that the ability to not just accept things at face value is something so interesting in a character.
Yeah, well, he's just got this like alien perspective, basically. Like
Yeah,
it just you're
exactly.
right. Like to everyone else, it's like no, that's part of the cafe. Whereas like that, he just comes at it so differently that like he sort of does the things. And he's like he's not trying to be unfair. I mean, he pays her. He's trying to be fair.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
the direction he comes at it from is so
is very
startling.
different. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. It's also I got to call out. It's such an Amos move too. Like this is one of those bits where, in
yeah,
retrospect, I was just like, "Fuck!" You can see Amos doing that, like, and it being like a ha ha funny Amos moment. Yeah, so good.
yeah. Um, yeah. I'll just quickly point out. Eric refers to Lydia as an old woman when he arrives. It's in his like internal monologue, and then asks if that's Timmy's mum. And like these are the red flags you guys should be looking out for.
Yeah, I think it's really funny as well because like we'll get to talk about the author's note at the end, but like they specifically mention that like the story doesn't call out how bad Lydia and
No.
Timmy's relationship is. this is as close as it gets. Is Eric basically just meeting them and being like, "Oh, so is this like your mom?" And them sort of being like, "Oh, no." Um, that's all. That's all we get as the readers. Like, just being like, "No, no, no." They're like, "This is messed up."
Yeah, yeah.
We also, I mean, I find Lydia like a fascinating character, like because so there's there's this one bit where as the world's going to shit around her, she basically puts on makeup and tries to dress herself up. And the narration says a lifetime of experience had drawn connections in her mind that linked sexual desirability, fear, and fatalism in ways she would have recognized as unhealthy if she'd seen them in someone else.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just yeah, I because like Lydia fascinates me because she's this person who is simultaneously obviously so horrible and yet nice, but also
Yeah.
yeah, like and like this is that like this is maybe like the first bit where you start to see how that's sort of happening, where she's just a bit blind to her own bullshit, maybe. Um, yeah, I don't know. She's just yeah, fascinating in the most horrible way, like Lydia.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. I don't know, she's also obviously kind of a victim of the society that she's
Mm.
in. Um, but
No,
yeah.
exactly. But yeah, anyway, so Timmy goes back to meet Burton and is basically like, "What should I do now?" And he tells him the truth, and Burton's like, "Oh, that's easy. Kill Eric." Uh, Timmy just goes to do it because that's his job now, and no hesitation. But yeah, this is where Lydia sort of comes in and is like, "Oh,
Mm,
actually, let's think about this. What kind of person do you want to be?"
yeah. Um, yeah. So Timmy goes for it very quickly, which is interesting. Um, he's just like, "Yep, okay, that's gonna happen." Uh, I guess thinking about it more, it is just he just latches onto an authority, right? I think that's something I couldn't really put my finger on until knowing that it's Amos. But right now, his authority is Burton, and so Burton's told him to do something, and he's going to do it, even if he doesn't want to, which he does say to Lydia. He's not happy about it
Yeah.
later. He's got his order from his boss and he has to follow it. It's like Jesse Plemons' character in Breaking Bad, this like casual willingness to do violence. It's the same thing that,
Yeah.
he doesn't, he's got an alien perspective. He doesn't play by the societal rules that govern society. He's just there to follow what his boss says, and doesn't matter what, uh, societal expectations are in the way.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like this speech, like Lydia gives him, it's so dark in some ways because she basically she's like, people like us, like we're not righteous, but
Mm.
we can pretend to be, and that's almost the same as if it was true. And like, you're right. Like I don't think Timmy really takes this to heart necessarily as much as like interprets this advice as, oh, okay, like I should be taking my orders from like what would be righteous. I'm just bad at figuring that out. And it's like, okay, so the step from how he goes from here to like being Holden slash Naomi's lackey,
Mm.
like fucking, if he was looking for somebody to be a beacon of righteousness, he struck gold with Holden. um but yeah, like it's almost like like Lydia doesn't convince him. To me, it didn't feel like Lydia convinces him not to kill Eric because like she appeals to like the power of friendship,
No.
or it doesn't feel like he's made a moral decision here. It almost feels like he kind of just picks up that she thinks he shouldn't do it, so he's going with that while he figures out why.
But kind of barely thinks that. So
Yeah,
she barely thinks that he shouldn't do it. She almost even
yeah,
just asks, "Are you like? Let's just double check that it's the right decision," and that's enough for him to change his motivation. And I was kind of uncertain of exactly why he does flip, but I guess it is just him deciding, okay, I've hitched my moral compass to the wrong person. Let's just adjust it to this person instead, and now I'll just
yeah.
do what this person thinks. Like, but even then, I still don't quite understand exactly why he flips. I don't.
I think because it is like Lydia is. like the closest thing he's got to like a not just a mother figure, but
Yeah.
like a concept of somebody who can actually care and make the world a better place. Like she's probably
Yeah.
the one force in his life that he like is a net positive.
Yeah.
So like I think it is just like it may just be like as much as Lydia wants me to rethink, and like in Lydia's head we sort of see that she knows that it's wrong for Timmy to kill Eric, but also she kind of wants him to do it just because selfishly it means they can stay together.
Yes.
And luckily, like, it turns out she does have a line somewhere. Um, but yeah, like for Amos, like, or Timmy, it is just, it's like, she's the closest thing he's seen in the world to like a positive force. So he's going to kind of, I guess, go with her instincts on some of this because, if anybody's going to be able to help make the world a better place in his life, the sad truth is it's Lydia. Um,
Yeah.
and like that's why Holden is even a big upgrade for this guy. Like, the bar was in hell, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting to just think all he has really done is shift to whose orders he's following. But he has made
Mm,
that choice from somewhere deep down, some kind of moral
yes.
decision.
And I mean, I think we see a little bit of this, like in the glimpses we get into Lydia's head as well. She's constant, like, she gives him this speech, like, people like us, we aren't righteous, blah blah, and like she clearly has done, is doing horrible things, but there's still like a part of her that knows right from wrong in a way that like does seem to have been more obliterated in someone like Jules Pierre Mao or like Burton.
Mm.
um like, like with all this stuff about how like I'm thinking of the quote where she sort of like was dressing up for the end of the world, and it was like, oh, these are connections her brain's making that like she would identify as problematic in other people. It's like there's something in there to her. She's just a bit disconnected from it, and Timmy's that writ large.
Yeah.
And so you're right, like somewhere down in there there's the sense that he wants things to be better and good. um but yeah, like he's also just wired to just kind of do what he's told. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. He's an interesting character. He's an interesting character.
Yeah. I really like the little mirroring we get. It's probably a stretch to call it mirroring, but the speech Lydia gives Timmy here about how we're not righteous, but we can pretend to be. Like you can see the echoes of it in the advice Amos gives to Miller in Leviathan Wakes. Like when Miller gets kicked off the crew, and Amos is a bit like, "Hey, we're both fucked. We have shit moral compasses. Like, few things felt different. I could have been one of the people on Thoth, um,
Mm.
but the captain couldn't have been. Like he's righteous, and so like I'm going to do what he says." And it's like the A to B on Lydia's speech to that is just really fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Amos's monologues about his morality land a lot harder now that you know this, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's also his version of this speech of Lydia's. Like this is a speech that clearly like changed the entire trajectory of his life and saved him from being a horrible person. And like so, him giving this advice to Miller hits different as well because like no, this is Amos trying as best as he can and not doing a great job, but like trying to replicate what Lydia gave him.
Mm.
um, I'll also say we get a little thingy here that on the TV. There's a burning apartment building with a serious-faced Indian woman speaking into the camera with a dour expression. That has to be Avasarala, right? Like we're all
Yeah, I
just,
didn't catch this, but you're right. It definitely is.
yeah, it has to be. Um, but anyway, yeah, we're pretty much at the end. Basically, because of Lydia's advice, Timmy kills Burton instead of Eric. He leaves the scene. The churn wraps up. The new status quo emerges. It's different, but not really.
Mm.
And Timmy is picked up by Star Helix, and it looks like this is the end for him. But yeah, no, it's okay. He's been registered as Amos Burton, and he's got to get on his shuttle to Luna because he's got an internship out in space to get to.
Yeah,
And he all lived happily ever after.
yeah. Um, can I just talk about after he kills Burton though? The next line is, after he's kind of strangling him to death or whatever, the next line is, once Timmy was sure he was alone in the apartment, blah, blah, blah. That's such a great sentence. I love that as a sentence. I love that as a way to like transition from a murder to him clearing the building or whatever, right? Like,
yeah,
it's so evocative. I love that. So good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a great call out. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that's the Churn. There was as Memories Legion always has an author's note. I think we've touched on
Yeah.
a chunk of what it said. Like they brought up the omniscient voice thing, which I was really upset about because I was like, oh, I finally pulled out a neat literary. I finally, after years of podcasting, I finally noticed a writing technique thing, and then they called it out explicitly, which took the victory away.
Yeah.
Um, but I really like this quote from the author's note. A lot of Amos's character requires foregoing the customary moral judgments, for better or for worse.
Yes.
And this is how they close up talking about Lydia.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, so fuck, yeah. I mean, no better way to do it than following that.
Yep. Yeah.
I guess before we like move on to the outro and stuff, I want to do a little bonus bit, just on the very real city of Baltimore.
They didn't just
Mostly
make it
because
up for this story.
So like I knew it was real, but it hit differently. Like I can't remember how much we have or haven't talked about this, but like I obviously spent some time in the US like almost a year ago, and I was in Washington DC, and it was while I was there that I learnt that Baltimore like is touching Washington, like they're basically hugging.
Yes.
So I don't think I don't think I'd ever differentiated Baltimore and Boston in my head. So like I just really wanted to talk about Baltimore because having not actually been there but being nearby, it was like really cool to get a sense of like it's not really on the ocean.
But
like in the book series, it kind of is.
yeah. Oh, interesting.
So I guess global warming.
Yeah, rising tides. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I will say this bonus bit may end up feeling a bit more like just a Cunningham's Law bait segment for our American listeners because I'm going to talk about a city I've never actually been to and, again, didn't really understand it existed fully until like a year ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically it's adjoining Washington, which made me think like, wouldn't the government be right nearby? But I guess it's the UN now, so I don't know what the US government looks like as a subsection of the UN. Like, do you think Washington DC is still a thing?
I don't know. Surely not. I mean, but any time that we get far enough into the future and there's like a global government, and yes, my other main reference for this is Futurama, of course, but it just feels like so. It feels like you're really fudging over just how many people that would be. Like you really just kind of blurred your eyes and said, yeah, I'm sure it's fine, but actually doesn't really make sense, does it? There would need to be local government.
Oh no, they're for sure like I don't know if this was a show edition or if it's just like a segment we don't remember from Caliban's War, but like there's definitely a bit where like Avasarala has to go and like no, she says she like rose up.
Yeah, quashing some like revolution thing, right?
No, she mentions at one point she was like a low ranking bureaucrat in like the in like one of the Indian zones. But it's like
that's right. Yeah.
So it's like you got the UN on top, and then I guess it's kind of like the UN's the global government. Then you've got presumably like federal or like zoned governments, and then you get all the way down to local councils.
Yeah, so I imagine Washington DC is still the seat of government for the American,
like North America, or yeah. I don't know. It could have moved in the next 10 years, but But anyway, so yeah, like But so Baltimore at the moment is about 200 miles from the Atlantic Ocean, I believe. But like it's on a bay, so I'm just like I think the bay that it's near is like salt water, but like way less than the ocean. Like like if the gradient of salt slowly goes down as you get away from the ocean and further into the bay. By the time you reach Baltimore, it's not very salty. And I wanted to call that out because the story specifically notes that the salt water and rotting fish smells of the encroaching Atlantic were omnipresent. And
Right.
I don't think that'd really be the vibe in Baltimore right now.
Mm.
I again haven't been there, but my experience in Washington, which is not far away, and like looking up the salinity of the water, like I definitely think they're selling that things are different. But the really explicit one of these that I thought was really fun when I started doing research, the novella mentions a place called Sparrow Island.
Mm.
Um, that's not a real place. There is a place at the moment called Sparrow's Point. Um, and yeah, you look
Sparrow's
it up, and
Peninsula used to be known
it,
as.
yeah, it's Sparrow's Point is surrounded by water on 3 sides.
That's funny.
And I looked it up. It wouldn't take much to add a fourth.
It's the kind of thing that must be so fun if you're an author to be like, okay, what would the future look like? Oh, here's a peninsula. Yep, that's going to be an island. Like, it's just such a funny little
Yeah,
joke
yeah,
to write for
exactly.
yourself in your book.
It gives the vibes of like one of the authors must have spent some time living in Baltimore or something because they had way too much
Yeah,
fun
yeah,
ruining it. Like this is the sort of joy from ruining something that only comes from having lived there.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's another very similar one where there's they mentioned Federal Hill scowls back across at the city across shallow, filthy water. Looked it up. Federal Hill, that's just like kind of in the middle of the city, but there's like some sections of the bay right near it where it's like, okay, that could get cut off as well. Um, but yeah, so like a lot of like I imagine if you're familiar with Baltimore, it would be so much more fun to read the early parts of this novella because like little details
Yeah,
like Sparrow's Island were really fun to like be like,
to
oh, okay, like
recognize.
that, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cute.
they also like this is like a kind of little side bonus bit, but urban arcology gets mentioned a few times in this novella. Um, basically, like Baltimore, I think we get told Baltimore had the peak of urban arcology about a decade or two before the technology really existed to make its dreams of vast sustainable structures a reality.
Mm.
Um, so I looked into this, and urban ecology is like a real, well, not like a real thing, but like a real sci-fi. Like it was popularized by authors and stuff, but it's like it's basically the concept of having hyper dense, like self-sustaining megastructures. So like a mini
The
city that's entirely self-sustaining.
the only place I've heard the word arcology before is in the board game that we've been playing
Yes,
recently, where it's also it's a kind of an environmental themed board
yes.
game. So it's very funny to like see this word again. It's starting to just pop up more and more.
I know, yeah. But yeah, so like an urban arcology is very specifically like trying to build a human habit. I mean, like basically the thing is like a space station would arguably be like an advanced urban arcology. So it's
Yeah,
fun that
sure.
we got places like Baltimore that are scarred with the early attempts to build self-sustaining places.
Mm.
Um, although I guess actually the space stations aren't that self-sustaining because if you cut off their water supply, they'll start a war about it. But yeah, it's just it's very funny to me the idea that like urban arcology came on as a fad, took over a huge chunk of Baltimore, and now there's just ruins that like unregistered people are living in, and
Mm.
it's like adds to that dystopian vibe of like somebody tried to build this thinking it would be a self-sustaining like forever city, and not that much
Whoops.
longer later, it's slums.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's Baltimore, and that's the churn.
Yeah. Getting back into a new trilogy next.
Yeah, I'd forgotten how hard this story very early on hits you with Lydia and Amos of it all,
Oh, really? Yeah.
and I was like reading this to do my notes after like not having read it for a while and just sort of having forgotten how hard it is and just being like, wow, this is such a funny way to start season 2. Like
Yeah, no,
we're
it's in
going
there
right
from
in.
the get go.
Yeah. Like I'm not I'd forgotten how much I'm not easing you into it. Um but yeah, as you said, second trilogy, I'm really excited to get into this one. Sybil O'Byrne is a book I'm going to really go hard on advocating for as we go through it. I really like it, so I'm
Oh
excited
yeah,
to
okay.
go through it with you.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I wonder how cleanly each of the trilogies will have their own identity when I finish them and look back. Yeah,
that's actually a whole interesting. Yeah, that will be very fun to talk about as we get there. Because
I'm so excited to see. Okay, is this next book? Does it feel like it's a continuation from book 3, or does it feel like it's starting a new set of bits? Or I don't know, or both. I guess is probably what the answer is really going to be. But
yeah, no, that'll be fun to talk about. Before we get into those outro things, though, we should mention we're now that we're back, we're doing discussion questions again.
Yes.
And get your discussion question answers in pretty early, because now that we're back to the weekly cadence, but we still record about like 3 days before these episodes air. So you've really only got like 3 days from after this is released to answer the question. So apologies for that tight turnaround, but
yeah, true. Now we're weekly. Maybe we should run our discussion questions for 2 weeks or something, just to give them more time. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. This is going to be the trial one. But yeah, basically the discussion question as we finish off the churn is, as we head into our second trilogy, what did you think of the first?
Yeah, we were originally going to ask which of your aunts do you most want to sleep with, but Elliot said it was a bad idea for some reason. So
yeah, well, I don't want my answer to that on record. Obviously.
My aunt listens to this.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear, especially. I mean, I guess no spoilers, of course, but
yeah,
I'm interested to hear if people do see the first trilogy as having its own unique identity that's different from the later ones.
Yeah. I'm keen to hear, like, I guess your thoughts, and I know we've got a few readers who are reading through the series for the first time with you, so those are also like, I want to get your and their perspectives as well on like what, because I think this was one of the points where the series could have ended, like when they were first scoping it out. Like I think they got renewed for books 2 and 3 or whatever, but like in the back of their mind, this would have been like roughly where the series could have potentially ended, with the hope of journeying into the stars or whatever.
Yeah,
And I'm curious to hear what people think of these 3 and a bit books as a unit.
Yeah. So yeah, you can leave your answers to that discussion question in the discussion thread, which is linked in the show notes down below.
Yes, you can also check us out on Blue Sky. That's where we post updates, like when the episodes are coming out or if they're going to be late, which, this is going to be a new cadence, so I'm hoping it won't happen, but it could. Blue Sky will tell you if it does.
Yeah. If you're enjoying the show, why not leave us a review on your podcasting platform of choice? That's a great way to help people get into the Expanse. It's a long path to get them into it, but it could work.
Yes, and don't forget about our website, doofmedia.com. That's where all the other shows on Doof are. So if you like this one, there's even better ones. Like Matt and Scott have been going absolutely gangbusters getting interviews recently.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, if you're at all interested in like that sort of Stephen King horror genre as well, like their From show has gotten me back into the show From. So yeah, check them out.
Yeah. Of course, if you want to support the Doof Network, you can become a patron at patreon.com/doofmedia. There's all kinds of bonus content and extra things that you'll get access to, but of course, you'll also get access to that sweet, warm feeling of knowing that you're supporting some great shows and helping us improve our balance sheet.
Yeah, we've got to get renewed for season 3 because that's how it works, maybe. But yeah, so I guess we'll be back on the 6th of July next week to talk about Sybil O'Byrne. We'll be covering the prologue through to the end of chapter 7.
Bye.
Bye.